1 year ago, I had a decision to make. I could either go to college, I could spend the next 6 years of my life studying to be an accountant or whatever, an economist, whatever the fuck that is, and then get a job, keep working, keep climbing the food ladder, like the corporate food ladder, where you work for $1,000 and you get a little raise, a 10% raise, you make 1.1k, then 1.2k, and then eventually after like 10 years, you start making 2 to 2.5k a month, and then you call that a living, like a good salary. I could either do this, or I could pick the risky route, what most people call risky route, because I'm gonna get back into the risky part, because it's not what it sounds and not what most people say about it. So, or I could do something else, risky, dangerous, and perhaps a thing that will make me homeless. I could pursue a career as a copywriter. The thing I love most about copywriting is traveling, it's the free time, and it's that you can be whatever the fuck you want and you can make money. Like I can be in Dubai and I can be making the same amount of money where I was in my office. That's what I love most. And so I realized that I didn't want my life to be around the food chain, the corporate food chain. I didn't want my life to look like this. I could never work for someone. I could never have somebody tell me when you come to work what you do, and I could never have somebody give me orders. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe you don't relate to this. Maybe I'm talking out of my ass. Maybe it's just me. So I could never have somebody telling me what to do. It's just me. I could never have somebody do this. And I could never also have somebody dictate the amount of money I make. I could never have somebody dictate the amount of vacation I take. I could never have somebody tell me what to do. That's not who I am. I have big ambition. And if you're watching this, then chances are you also have ambition. You want to become a 10k a month copywriter. You want to quit your job. You want to quit college. You want to prove everybody in your family wrong. You want to be the best man that your generation has ever created. And that's my goal. That's one of my sayings. That's one of my mottos. Like I say this to myself all the time. And so I started copywriting. In my first year, I was completely broke. I also made another video about it, which is I ate rotten dog food for a year. Go watch this if you haven't. It's probably the most personal video I've ever made in my channel. It's about how I went from literally almost eating dog food to making 5-10k a month. It's one of the best things ever. Like, it's so personal, it's so emotional. I was kind of afraid to post this because you don't want to post this stuff on the internet. But yeah, I posted it. So go watch it. So I got into copywriting, like I said, in my first year, 6 months, I wasn't landing a single client. These little broke clients, I had a client for like a few YouTube titles, then I landed a few clients for a few $100, but nothing was sustainable and it wasn't something that you can survive off of. Not at all. And so it was at this point in the exams. So I was still in college and it was the exams. And at this point I had a decision to make. I could either study to pass the exams, or I could either not even show up to the exams and I can just keep practicing copywriting. And I was in this crossroads, and in one case I could pass the exams and I would have my parents paying for everything, or I could pursue this copywriting thing with the possibility of me making money. And so I decided to go with it, of course, copywriting. Otherwise I wouldn't be here. So I decided to go with the copywriting thing, and it didn't work out as I expected. In the beginning, I thought I would land clients fast, but I wasn't landing them as fast as I expected. And so I didn't pass the exams. I hadn't told my parents yet. I told my parents that I went to the exams just so they can keep paying for my living expenses. Maybe this sounds harsh. It is harsh. I've probably apologized to them. If you're watching this, sorry. But yeah, whatever. So I kept doing that. I didn't pass the exams. I never told anyone. And then 2 months later, like after the exams, they asked me how the exams went. And I told them, because they had seen how devoted I was in this copywriting thing, they had seen how much time I was spending into this, and they were like, so what are you going to do? Are you going to finish college, or are you going to drop out? What are you going to do? And so I told them that I won't. I actually won't. And the crazy part, bro, I was so fucking delusional that I didn't have no income, nothing. I wasn't making money. I wasn't closing deals. Like, I had barely worked with a few clients in the past. And I was so delusional that I could make it that I'm like, fuck it. Screw it. I'm giving up. I'm dropping out of college. That's it. I dropped out of college. I went full in the first 4 months of dropping out. No money. Barely any deals, and nothing. And that's when it happened. I closed my first $6,000 client. When this happened, I was about 11 months in. Yeah, I was 11 months into copywriting, and I closed my first deal. And I was so happy. You don't even realize. I'm like, I knew it. I told everyone. This was my mindset back then. And I closed a deal, and then for the next few months, I wasn't closing any new deals. And I'm like, wait, what? What happened here? Didn't I just broke free from the matrix? And so I went from almost breaking free from the matrix to joining the matrix again. And I'm like, oh my God, bro. I thought I made it. I was devastated. And so I kept working, I kept grinding, and even though I was feeling like shit, even though I barely had enough money to pay for my living expenses, again, go back to watching this video I told you about. I barely had any money, and at the time I was paying for my living expenses. So thank God I closed that 6K client. If I hadn't closed that 6K client, I'd probably be on the street. I'd probably be homeless right now. So I had some money left, and I kept grinding, and that's when I cracked the code. That's when I finally started closing deals. So I got my first mentor, actually my first high quality mentor, because I already had the mentors, but they weren't that good. So I got my first A-list mentor. He taught me all the secrets, and then I came up with my own secrets, and that's when the game changed for me entirely. That's when I started landing clients consistently. That's when I started building my personal brand. That's when copywriting clients started reaching out to me, which was unheard of at the time. I was like, how can business owners reach out to you to work with you? Because for the last 12 months, 14 months, all I knew about was you reaching out, outreaching every single day, all day, no results, getting ghosted. That's all I knew. And so it was such a big mind shift for me. I could not even fathom it. And so yeah, this is kind of my story on how copywriting almost made me homeless. So one lesson is that a lot of times you're gonna feel like quitting, but if you don't quit, this is when the good thing is gonna happen. When you don't quit. Because when you don't quit, that's when you prove to God, to the universe, whatever you want to call it, that you deserve it. Because that's the thing about most copywriters. They don't deserve to get to this point. They haven't proven anything. They haven't lost anything. They haven't sacrificed anything. I had to sacrifice everything to get to this point. And that's okay. If you're not willing to make the sacrifice, okay, don't make it. Nobody's gonna grab you by the hand and tell you, oh, I want to get this guy rich. I want to get you rich. Nobody's going to do this. Nobody's going to tell you to make this sacrifice or else you're not going to make money. Nobody is going to do this. You have to make it up. You have to make that decision. If you don't make that decision, nobody else is going to make that decision for you. Does that make sense? So it's up to you. Do you want to risk becoming homeless and pursuing this career as a copywriter? Or do you want to go to the certain path, to the safe path, and live the rest of your life average? Like, I don't want to be average. I don't want to have a boss. I don't want to have somebody tell me how many vacation days I can take. I don't want someone to tell me how many hours I can work a day. Like, you can never drive good cars, for example. You can never live in a good house. You can never have true freedom unless you're working for yourself. You can never do this. And the good part about copywriting is Even if you don't like writing, for example, even if you're not a good writer, copywriting doesn't have to be the thing you remain with. Like at this point, I'm doing other stuff. I'm not just doing copywriting. I'm helping people with offers, and you can scale that. Like, you can use copywriting as a launchpad. It doesn't even have to be the thing. Like, look at most people. They become copywriters and then they start something else. They do something else. Like, you can have your own offers. For example, one thing I'm thinking about right now with my own business is to start a dating offer, for example, and running ads to it. And once you learn copywriting, bro, once you work with a few clients, then you can do whatever you want. Like, making money is a skill. And once you crack it, once you learn one skill, that's when you become true freedom. That's when you unlock true freedom. Because you can literally become your own bank at that point. You can literally become your own bank. So yeah, I'm deriving from the point. That's what I want to share with you. Hope you got some value out of this. If you did, make sure to like, subscribe, share. See you in the next one. Love you.